You see something over there, John?
It's blue.
So
What is it?
Our little surprise for our people is that we are going to try being on YouTube for this episode. What are you doing?
I was looking at it. It looks
So, all right. So, if we're going to be on YouTube now, does that mean that we're influencers and we're famous?
Not yet.
No.
Well, we're recording now.
Oh well. I mean, what's it take? Like 2 or 3 episodes, and then boom, we're good.
I'd be cool with that. I'd be acceptable for that. Sure.
Yeah, I don't know how this works, but hopefully, producer Andrew can get it all figured out. Hi, producer Andrew.
Hi.
Sitting down there, who's probably not going to be on camera. You know, he can walk around at some point.
Well,
during this thing.
the countdown is growing ever closer to when he has to talk.
It really is.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. When did he
By
promised?
episode 50.
Did he really?
Yeah, this is what, we're on 39?
He did talk on the Patreon episode.
From over there. That doesn't count.
Although I think that I've got a little conspiracy theory going on. I think that he tried to edit himself out a little bit or to tone it down.
I could see it.
Because I noticed that the volume gets quieter on the Patreon episode after he talks. Yeah. And I had to turn it back up on my phone. So I was like, yeah, he did something there.
Yeah, it's possible.
He's over there going, no, he's denying it.
What's the phrase? Plausible deniability.
Yeah. Yep, I did not. So, hey, man, so how's your week been?
Busy. We got hopefully all the parts I need to fix Pegasus.
Okay.
So I'll be working on that in the next week or so here. I haven't figured out how I'm going to get it back in with by myself yet, but
The trans?
yeah,
I thought you got a trans jack.
I do, but it's obscenely large and tall, and I had to use another floor jack to get it off of that once I had it lowered as much as it would go, and have somebody pull the big jack out. And my parents are leaving for a couple weeks, going on a little vacation, so I'm not going to have anybody around to help me with this thing.
Just give me a call one day after work or
I
something.
might do that.
I mean, I'm usually riding home 4:30 to 5:30, somewhere in there. So just give me
if I call screaming in pain, that means that I attempted it on my own and it fell.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
All right, well, I think we got some things to talk about today.
I think so.
It's time to hit the trail, lock in those hubs, and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin with Keith and Johnny Orange, broadcasting from the Thin Line Off-Road Studio. They're here to talk about 4x4s, trucks, and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Buckle up. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
Now we're back.
Now we're back. All right. That's good. All right. So I'm really glad you texted me, texted the group, the whole podcasting group earlier today, because I didn't know what to do for episode 39, and I forgot that we'd even talked about doing this episode. What made you? Is this something that we said we were going to do last week?
Yeah.
Or, really? Was I that tired?
It was either during the show or the after show we talked about it. We brought up the lawsuit issue. And we talked about it briefly, and then says, let's do that for the next one. Says, okay. That was the end of it. So.
You know, I was so tired last week, and last week's episode was only like 39 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, we did a shorter one.
I was exhausted. I listened to the episode. It sounds okay, the New Year's resolutions episode, but I could tell just listening to the whole thing that I was tired. You seem kind of tired too. We were just kind of both out of it that
I don't
day.
remember why, but...
Well, it was that New Year's lug thing or whatever you were talking about. But
I still don't know the name of that.
Yeah, no, I never figured it out. Never even tried to.
All of last week was a little screwy for me with that. I couldn't tell you why. Just every day, and even up until yesterday, I've been running a day behind every day.
Yeah, I can see that.
I totally forgot about trivia last night.
I haven't been to one of the. Oh, it's back. It was gone.
Yeah, for New Year's and Christmas, those couple weeks, they don't do it for about 3 weeks around this time every year.
Okay,
it's back now. Apparently, a new format.
New format.
Yeah, 5 rounds, 10 questions, 1 winner.
Ooh.
And as I understand it, they are, at least as of last night, not multiple choice. So
okay,
we'll see how it goes. I'll give it a week or two, try it out. But
yeah,
I don't like that. We'll see how it goes, but I don't care about the rounds or the 1 winner thing. That never bothered me. the lack of multiple choice is what bugs me.
What Mr. Johnny Orange over here is talking about, folks, is we occasionally, or for a while, we were going up on Wednesday nights to a little tavern bar by his house that had a trivia contest. We usually lost, but
We won a lot.
a lot.
Well, the team did.
Oh, okay, a couple times.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for that automotive one or that 4x4 one.
They had one. There were a bunch of diesel questions, and I actually I smoked everyone on that round.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
That was cool.
Hey, before we get into our topic, do you want to do a little bit of the museum news thing?
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of trivia and interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, that new thing you've been doing is awesome. By the way,
I've been having a lot of fun with that, and so our YouTube viewers are going to see. I'm actually going to put it up here. We have these really cool calendars.
I'll show the cover.
Isn't that the cover?
No,
Oh, that's not the cover?
that's the car for January.
Oh, okay. It looks just like the cover. Okay.
It's probably the same one.
They're called Holy Toledo calendars, and these are Jeep calendars that were donated to the Museum of Off-Road Adventure. We were told a price that we need to charge for them, $15. We actually, so it's a $15 donation. You get one of these.
Yeah.
They have these awesome. They're just full of days with all sorts of really cool,
Super high quality trucks and Jeeps, different things like that. Very cool.
Yeah, and they've got like this day in Jeep history. Well, I use this as a bit of a inspiration along with what the Thumbprint News does, which we share the building with the Thumbprint News.
Yep.
They publish monthly, and they publish a this day in history thing, and it's just random. I mean, it's just anything.
Yeah.
It might be this is the day the Titanic sank, or this is the day that Leonardo DiCaprio stood on the bow of the fake Titanic.
I got a funny quick note on that. I just heard on the radio on the way here.
Oh man. Okay.
You mentioned it. Apparently, it was down in Mexico or something. Leonardo DiCaprio was out boating on vacation, and some employee on a cruise ship fell overboard. DiCaprio heard this over the radio, went and participated in the search, and found the guy. So the joke they're saying it was good Kate Winslet wasn't on the boat with him, or they wouldn't have let him on the boat.
There you go. That's
True story, as I understand it.
I'll have to look into that. I'll take your word for it. Back to what we were talking about, what we've been doing, and you can see, John, all of my scribbling on this one that we've sacrificed.
Yeah.
In between, I wanted to do a this day in off-road. I started calling it 4x4 history, but really since the Mora is not just 4x4s, it's all off-road vehicles. It's this day in off-road history. And I thought this would be something really easy to find. It's not so easy to find something for every day. But,
I believe it.
But currently, I've got it over half the way through the month of January.
Nice.
And, we've done little things. One of the more popular ones is, just for example, January 3rd, 1921, this day in history, Studebaker stopped producing their carriages that they've been producing since 1851 to solely make vehicles.
I didn't know they did carriages.
Yes.
That's cool.
That's where they started out. They did horse-drawn carriages. And Studebaker, as you know, with the NAPCO history from the museum, they also had four-wheel drive trucks.
Yeah.
And during World War II, they did as well. They don't have as deep of an off-road history as, say, Jeep does or something like that. And then, like another one, just a real example here. Let me see what's a good one. Oh, January 7th is what I'm now calling Chevy Truck Day. And I don't know why Chevy doesn't call this Chevy Truck Day.
Yeah.
Because January 7th, 1918 was the first Chevy truck rolled off the line. And then January 7th, 1924, the first General Motors produced vehicle overseas was a Chevy truck once again, rolling off the line
Start
in
that hashtag.
Copenhagen.
Start that hashtag for it.
You're like, hashtag, well, we could just do that. Hashtag.
I don't know how those work, but I understand it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you're thinking like maybe hashtag
Chevy Truck Day.
January 7th is Chevy Truck Day.
Or that, too.
Or something shorter. We'll come up with something. We'll put it on 4x4
yeah,
Talk.
that works.
I like it.
And you're posting all these on the museum page, right?
Yes.
Okay, very cool.
Museum of Off-Road Adventure Facebook page. Go on there, folks. You can scroll through. 10 o'clock every morning, we post a new one. And, obviously we do these a couple days in advance, so we know that they actually post at 10 o'clock every morning. It's pretty cool. There's been a lot of interaction with it. We're having some fun with it, too.
Yeah, and if you want to get one of the calendars, go to the website, and it's set up through the donation there, isn't it? Enter the donate button. Not yet. We're working on it.
If they send a $15 donation through themora.org, through PayPal, or on the website, just send a note in the donation.
That works.
With their address. Please send me
Yeah.
a calendar. Simple enough.
Yeah. Or come on down, check it out, and pick one up in person.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So, anything else? Oh, museum news. Continuing on the Mora. The museum, we are changing the hours for wintertime, or at least for a little bit here, to try something new.
Okay.
We were open 10 to 3 every Sunday. We're now changing it to being open 4 to 8 Sunday evenings.
That works.
And because we have had a number of people during the Christmas walk and other events that have said, hey, can you guys do you have any evening hours? So we're going to try this. We might also pick up, depending on my work schedule and some of the other volunteer work schedules, we might pick up something on, like a Wednesday or a Tuesday or something like that as
works.
well. So we'll see. Did we even mention what the topic's going to be today?
Not yet.
I couldn't remember in the beginning.
We were getting to it.
I mean, we talked about like you texting me, but I didn't know if
Yeah.
we actually mentioned it.
No. I mentioned something about a lawsuit to give anybody hints, but I don't think they're going to figure that out on just that. There's so
Okay.
many of that.
Well, I guess, backboning off of that, unless you have anything else going on for a few minutes,
I don't think so.
this is kind of where your story begins right here.
Little bit, yeah.
So, John, why don't you lead us off? What are we going to talk about today?
Mahindra.
Mahindra.
I think I'm saying that right.
It is. I believe you are. Yeah, Mahindra, the tractor company, truck
Yep,
company.
They do all kinds of stuff. They've got their hands in SUVs, cars, pickups, commercial trucks, aircraft, motorcycles, Formula E race cars, which I've never heard of Formula E. So whatever.
Is that
and
a
specialty
typo?
Military vehicles. I suppose it could be, yeah.
I don't. Okay, keep
Didn't
going.
think of
Keep going. Now you got me curious.
Yeah. So that's Mahindra.
We actually use these computers for something that are in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, mine's making a nice writing surface right now.
Okay.
So Mahindra, in particular, we are going to be talking about the Roxor. So that is the little Jeep CJ3 clone.
CJ, what do you mean CJ3?
Designs are based off the CJ3B, 3 Bravo.
Is it? I think it
Some
looks.
of it.
I think it looks more like a miniature CJ7 with like a flat fender front on it.
So some of that came about from a design change, in part to that whole trademark dispute lawsuit thing, and just based on a few other changes that they made throughout its development within that company. That a similar model, which I'm trying to remember the name of it here. I can't find it quick enough. There's actually another one that's based off of in India. So
Oh, the name of it, like, so they actually sell it as a vehicle in India.
yes, yeah,
I've
that's
read
an
that.
actual vehicle overseas, capable of speeds up to like 70 miles an hour.
They derate them for the U.S.
Yep, here it is rated to electronically limited in the 2019 model year to 55 miles an hour
Ugh.
and 45 in the 2018 version.
Ugh. I think you have
Yeah.
that backwards. I think it was 55 in 2018, and then for 2019 they made it slower again.
It's possible, but I came across that a few times stating that.
all right.
So those sources could be wrong.
Oh,
but
yeah, I don't
what
know.
I didn't realize, this thing's a diesel.
Yes,
It's a little mini turbo diesel, 2.5 liter, 150 cubic inch diesel engine.
and I'm sure you're happy to know that most of them have 5-speed manuals all over.
I am.
I've read they now offer an automatic.
Yeah, there's an automatic option, but it does cost extra to get that, as it should. And the manual is just a nice standard option with it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So, okay, so you rattle off the specs, which is good. We don't need to go too deep into the specs. I do know that the front axle is a Dana 44, or both
They're
axles.
basically Dana 44 clones. Yeah.
Yes.
And the front, was it on this sheet?
There was a guy on one of the Wheelin pages that I'm on, not Wheelin as in our show,
Yeah.
but one of the
Wheelin,
off-road
with a
pages. Yeah, Wheeling
Yeah.
pages. And he had taken and bought, and apparently you can buy this whole axle assembly for about $1,000. The front
Really?
axle assembly, a brand new Dana 44 from Mahindra. And he did it for his Flatty project, and apparently it was like a direct bolt-in.
Wonder what the wheel pattern is.
It's the 5-on-5.5, the same as the old school ones, as far as I know.
Really?
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that's what I read, that it's the 5-on-5.5.
I got to find out on that. 'Cause that might be a good swap for project, the commando build.
It could be.
You got me thinking now. I know you can get them with 16-inch aluminum or steel wheels. And
Okay.
a bunch of different tire sizes, but that's as far as I got with it.
Yes, it's 5 on 5.5. I just looked it up for you. It's
Awesome.
the standard old 5 on 5.5. I thought so.
I approve of this. No, what I meant, I believe it was the front was a full floating and the rear was a semi-full float, or semi-floating, however the proper way to phrase that
Well,
is.
it's got like a lock. It's an old fashioned style.
Yeah.
It's got a lockout
Yeah.
hub
It's
on
got the
it.
optional aux lockers in the rear, the optional worn locking hubs in the front.
Any front optional lockers, or is that all? You just have to buy a
I
locker
don't
for
recall.
it. Okay.
I do not recall offhand.
Okay. So personally, I think these are awesome. I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about the tech specs on it, or
I
you
could go all day, so it's probably well. I'll add this. It's only got a 12-gallon fuel tank. The thing is 35 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
impressive.
insane.
So okay, so my take on these things, I've seen them. I've never been in one. I've never driven one.
Me
But
neither.
They look like a whole bunch of different generations of Jeeps just smashed together.
Yeah, that's kind of what I gathered.
And I do want to talk about the lawsuit end of things, but personally, I think they're awesome little vehicles. I've known a few people that have, through, say, friends of friends or whatever, that have purchased them, and they really, really like them.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them for sale. Every time I come here, pretty much leave home, there's a dealer that has them out front. I think they're still out front.
Well, they were for a while. I know the dealer
Yeah.
you're talking about, and when
I haven't noticed them in a while, but I haven't looked for
they
them.
took them off the lot for a while, and then they were back. So
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember the grill change, too, because that was kind of what was at the heart of the whole lawsuit issue, was the slat count in the grill.
Was it the slat count, or just the fact that they had
So it
a
was
vertical
a
slat
number
grill?
of things. What they call trade dress, and trade dress is a term for distinct characteristics of a product's visual appearance. So in the case of that, and I know I made a point to write it down, and I don't remember where now.
I'm glad you're slowing down there for a second, though, because for some reason I feel like we're talking really fast today. And
I get that too. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's just calm, dude, for a minute. Let's calm. We can do this. We're in the middle of the show.
The gist of it was what it boiled down to was the whole thing. The whole general look, how the slope of the shape of the fenders, the grill, just kind of how everything bolted together on it is kind of what they were claiming infringed on some of the copyrights. And even some of the mechanical bits, like the recirculating ball steering gear and 2-speed transfer case, are identical to the parts used in the 40s.
Yeah, it's got the Spicer 18 transfer case in it.
Yeah.
Which is nice, because if people are looking for parts today,
New manufacturer.
it's still being
I would
produced.
assume a lot of those parts would interchange, but they may not. I mean, it's, 80-year difference?
Well, Mahindra, I think it's Mahindra, is also reproducing the Willys wagon. Mm-hmm. The legality of it, whether or not it is under dealer license or under Fiat or whoever owns the rights to the Willys wagon design anymore, from what I've heard, they're still producing it in India. Mm-hmm. And I've heard of guys actually, purchasing body panels to repair rusted ones here, and they say, for the most part, it's direct bolt-on.
I believe it. So they were licensed in 1947 to actually build the Willys Jeeps. And Willys would send them kits, they'd assemble them, essentially.
Now, I've heard that before, though. Were they sending them for their own use, or were they sending them to be assembled to be sold? So, I don't really understand, why Willys would send Mahindra essentially parts to assemble and then sell it as a Mahindra.
I have no idea. I got nothing on that.
I have to wonder, was it for their military or civilian use? Or you don't know?
I don't know on that.
Your research
I didn't come
didn't-
across anything about that.
Okay.
So just that's what they were doing.
I think we need to get some Indian 4x4 guy who knows the history of Mahindra to chime in on this.
That'd be awesome. And I got a great joke, but no, not appropriate.
So you said 47?
Yep. Then in 1947, the late 40s, and they were licensed to produce several iterations of the CJ design since then, with the last agreement being in 2009.
So Here's what I'm confused about, and maybe you can answer this for me.
Hopefully.
If they were licensed in 47, that would have been under Willys Overland.
Correct.
That design, Willys Overland no longer exists.
No.
Willys Overland was absorbed into Kaiser, which was Kaiser Willys or Jeep, well, the Kaiser Jeep they called it.
Yep.
Was then absorbed into
AMC,
which was absorbed into Chrysler, which was absorbed into first Daimler, then Cerebus, now Fiat.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that this, agreement from 1947 still stands, or they were renewing? Because you said 2009. That's the Daimler Chrysler years.
That was when there were some updates because of the original importation of them in the lawsuit.
I want to explore this lawsuit stuff a little bit more, but let's take a quick break and then
Sounds good.
Word from our sponsors, which, by the way, our sponsors up here, we don't have a Thin Line Off-Road ad, folks, but we do have our Quick Draw ads a lot of times. It's Mr. Chad McKinney. We talk about him a lot. He is a personal friend of ours, but
he's real. He does exist. I promise.
He really
I've met the
exists,
man.
and QuickDrawBrand.com. In fact, I'm pretty sure if you buy an adapter from him, you can get a T-shirt, or if you just call him up, he'd probably give you one. So,
really,
Chad,
I
start
need some
printing
new
some
shirts.
T-shirts. But
I need some new shirts.
let's take a quick break, bud.
See you in a bit.
Hey, it sounds like it's time to swap out that old engine for something better, John.
Yeah, man, but I have so much into my trans and transfer case set up already. I don't want to change those too.
Sounds like you need to call Quick Draw Brand Adapters. They specialize in conversion bell housings for nearly all diesel and gasoline engines, including the new 2.8R Cummins.
I like weird engines, though. I want something different.
Then you definitely need to visit QuickDrawBrand.com today. They have those hard-to-find parts. They also have used diesel engines available. You can call them at 513-446-9654.
Cool, I'll do that. See what they have. Thanks.
So you're telling me, or we were talking about a little bit about this lawsuit.
I'll do the best I can with details on this first.
Yeah, let's not get too technical.
I found a lot of different sources with some slightly varying information, so I'll do the best I can with it.
Okay. I see you got a lot. You got a lot of notes over there.
Yeah. Trying to keep straight what's not duplicates.
Yeah, no, go ahead. So when did this lawsuit thing start out? Like, how could they be okay? Was it when they started importing them to the U.S.?
Essentially, yeah. So in the beginning, it wasn't even a lawsuit. It was a complaint filed by Fiat, or whatever Chrysler was at the time, that it looks very similar to the CJs, and they were concerned about it hurting the brand.
And I don't think anybody can argue that. It looks a lot like a Jeep.
Yeah. And there's one very long article I found through some Google searches. The guy gives you a complete and total rundown of everything from day one until actually end of November, when they completed the first section, or rather the most recent section of the case, so to speak. And in there, towards the end, he gives his opinion on how so much, everybody wants the bare bones, basic, go anywhere, do whatever you want it to vehicle for off-road.
Yeah.
And with all the government safety regulations and everything, a lot of these companies can't produce that.
Now, before we talk specifically about the Roxor, because I know prior to the Roxor coming to the U.S., Mahindra tried very, very hard for a number of years to bring their little, like you were saying, their bare bones pickup trucks to the U.S. market, which were crank windows, manual transmission, four-wheel drive. I could be completely off on this, but if I remember, because they actually were advertising at one point that they were going to be available the next year.
Yeah.
They got really, really close, and it was something like MSRP was going to be like $18,000 or something for this S10 size truck that was a base model simple truck.
Yeah. And you'll notice it was in particular with the Roxor, but there's mention of it with other ads when they were trying to come over here. Mm-hmm. You're seeing ads, you're hearing things, you're reading things about it, but you never saw a picture of one.
I saw pictures of the Mahindra truck.
That one was a little different. It was, like I said, more or less the Roxor that was that way.
Oh, okay.
They didn't unveil it until they brought it.
Okay.
Which is why, in the beginning, no one was concerned about it because nobody saw it. And I believe they had it at the auto show last year, according to one thing I found. I didn't read too much into that. But they out under that complaint was when they redesigned the front grille, because that was the biggest concern, the 7-slot signature Jeep grill.
Do you think that the complaint is really just because it looks like it, or is the complaint, does the conspiracy theorist in you say they don't want, the big three or whoever don't want another car company that has been proven successful for 60 years in another country to come to this country?
I'd say it's a combination.
You do?
Like you said, it looks like a Jeep. When I first saw it, I'm like, well, what the hell is that? That's a mini Jeep.
Well,
I thought that's what it was.
So did I.
And that, like I said, so part of that first complaint, why they redesigned the grill, was to break that up.
Okay.
And that's why they want a 4.5 slot they call it, or 5 slot.
It's like a V shape or something. So they did change the grill, but that wasn't good enough for them?
No, because they stopped making it for a few years, and then they brought it back under the guise that, well, you said it was okay 10 years ago, so we're going to continue producing these in greater quantities, and updated.
Has there been a 10-year gap?
Something to that effect, yeah.
Really?
I didn't realize they had been out that long.
Okay.
And that's what turned in. Like I said, there's so much about this out there. It's hard to nail everything down about it.
Well, yeah, just reading through the legalese and going through this injunction and this and that and this court case, and the fact of the matter is that we're talking a period of time that goes from Daimler Chrysler now to Fiat Chrysler. Yeah. And who did what when. I know that I remember reading something forever ago about the little trucks when they were trying to bring them here, and there was a lawsuit mainly led by General Motors and I think the SAE. Yeah. And they said, they wanted more crash test standards and this and that on them.
And that was the biggest thing with this. It said it can be this bare bones, all basic, no frills vehicle because they're designating it off-road only.
But from what I understand, and of course, once again, this is the conspiracy theorist in me of it, but some of the things that I read was that the truck had no problems passing those crash test standards.
I believe it.
It basically, their whole plan was sue, cost them so many millions of dollars in court that they would just essentially turn around and pull the plug.
I could see it.
Basically harass them out of the country.
Yeah, I could easily see that.
And so that's where I kind of wonder, although I do look at the Roxor and I go, that's a mini Jeep, like you said. It looks like a CJ7.
You can't deny it. It looks like a Jeep.
With CJ5 front fenders and, it's the size of a flat fender. I kind of like it a lot.
So I was indifferent to it in the beginning. Until I learned more about it, I didn't really care much for it.
Okay.
Until I learned a little bit more, like you said, the diesel, manual trans, some solid axles. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's very impressive. It's simple. It's like less than $20,000 to buy this thing. And there are ways it can be modified to reach those, unregulated speeds.
I've heard of that, but from what I've understood, legally, there's no way to modify it to be street legal.
No, I don't know enough about that. But.
Yet it's licensed as a side-by-side. And in some states, side-by-sides have found ways to be street legalized.
Yeah.
So why can you not then street legalize a Roxor?
I don't see why you couldn't. I don't understand the application process to do that enough to answer that.
I know quite a bit about it, but I think that's actually meant for another episode.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of ins and outs, different things.
Yeah.
I will say that I did see a build thread, and this is somebody that I have zero affiliation with. Travels in similar circles, but there was a build thread of somebody that bought a brand new Roxor, and he started modifying it. And one of the very first modifications he did was apparently bolt a CJ5 grill in it, which I didn't think they should just bolt in, but apparently it just bolted in.
Yeah.
Maybe he had to drill some holes, I don't know. And then he bolted a CJ5 dash with a CJ5 VIN plate on it. And licensed this brand new Roxor as like a 67 CJ5 or whatever it was.
That's awesome.
It's highly illegal,
Only if you get caught.
Only if you get caught. But I mean,
Not that we just outed the guy.
now he's got a diesel 5-speed CJ5.
That's awesome.
I mean, of course, remember a couple episodes ago we talked about that guy that took that Charger and he stripped it down, completely removed all the rust, and all he had left was essentially part of the cowl and the VIN plate, and he just built it out.
Yeah.
How is it any different? If you completely modify a vehicle, if you build a 2-buggy Jeep and and all that's left is the dashboard and the VIN plate when you're done.
Yeah.
How is it like?
I think that all comes down to the legal definition of terms on that.
Yeah.
Like the whole assembled title versus custom title.
True.
So that's, again, the whole legal mumbo jumbo. I ain't no lawyer, man.
True.
I can't answer that.
And one thing I'm going to say to our folks that are listening and watching on YouTube is that we live in Michigan. Ha ha ha. We can get away with a lot. We don't we don't have inspections. We don't have emissions. We don't have safety inspections. We don't any of that. We just go buy a plate, we slap it on the car, and it doesn't matter if we drag that thing out of a field and we're driving it down the road on 3 donut spares.
Not that either of us have ever done that.
Coworker's car reached under the other day and ripped his exhaust system off by hand because it was rusted off, and he just drove home. And I'm sure he could get pulled over for loud exhaust.
Oh yeah,
but still,
we've got that whole noise ordinance thing. That's about it. But yeah, and we learned very quickly the difference between the term repair and replace. You never repair it, you replaced it. Or you never replaced it, you repaired it.
Yes.
Because if you replace it, you've got to have all the VIN tracks and the receipts and all that garbage. If you repair it, you fixed it.
Yeah, and that's, again, it's not just cars.
Terminology.
It's legal terminology. I remember growing up, there was a little building, it was a little commercial building in my town, but for whatever reason, there was something funny about the way the lot was zoned. And it was locked in. If that building was ever torn down, essentially the lot couldn't be used for a whole number of services or whatever, or a whole number of different businesses. I don't remember. Maybe for example, and I've seen this before, maybe it was zoned only for a flower shop, let's say. In fact, that's what it was at one time. But it was zoned that way under a special use, and if you ever tore down the building, you could never build anything there again but a flower shop. But as long as it was zoned or the building exists, there was something they could do different. So I remember this guy bought this building, which was in condemned, terrible shape.
Yeah.
Tore down all but one wall. Completely built a whole new building with one original wall that I think actually got knocked down at the end of the process and then rebuilt. We see this in the demolition industry all the time too. Where folks go in and they demolish one half of a building, rebuild it. Yeah. Then they demolish the other half and rebuild it, but yet it's considered a building restoration. It's not considered a new building.
It's all playing the game.
It's beyond my legal understanding, but they do that.
You're paid to do this job, and this job will get done.
Yeah. Well, okay. So back to the Roxor. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to mention in particular, but I know that there's a bunch of accessories you can buy for them.
Well, I'll say this. You mentioned sort of the whole conspiracy theory thing. So there's a factory built in Auburn Hills, a few miles down the road from one of the big Chrysler buildings, in 2018. They're listed as the first new auto manufacturer in Detroit in over 30 years.
The first, because we now have Rivian and Bollinger Motors, and Auburn Hills isn't Detroit, buddy.
It's down the road from it.
The Detroit area.
Yeah,
Detroit I get area. It. Yeah, the Detroit area.
So all in the freezing.
All in the freezing. Yeah. Well, that's like Kid Rock's from Detroit. I mean, Romeo, Michigan's not exactly Detroit, but.
No. I'll go to Romeo. I won't go to Detroit.
I love Detroit. I go there every day.
I'm good.
You don't want to go there?
Only if I'm passing through to Ohio or Florida.
Okay. Side note, you love my side note stories sometimes. The ADD of this. So, I'm in Detroit this morning. It's like, I don't know, 7 o'clock in the morning. It's still dark outside. Now, one of my coworkers, on our job site, our job site we have porta potties.
Okay.
Okay, of course, because it's a what's that?
Porta-Mise. Porta-Johns.
Oh, Porta-Use, yeah, nice. We've got these Porta-Johns, and this building, we're completely demolishing on the inside, and there's no plumbing or anything like that. And these Porta-Johns, and it's like, I don't know, 12 degrees outside this morning or whatever it was.
Sounds about right.
And, one of the guys says to me, he goes, you don't have to go out there. And I'm like, yeah, kind of do. And he's like, no. He's like, if you go over there to Little Caesars Arena, which we're right next to.
Yeah.
He says, you go over to the Little Caesars Arena. He says, you walk over to that parking garage, and they actually have on the backside of it public restrooms. Huh. And I'm like, why would there be public restrooms? I don't know. There is.
Yeah.
He goes, there's even a restroom attendant in there. And apparently only in the afternoons, the restroom attendant. See, I go in there this morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. I go walking in, and I see feet out from under a stall.
Okay.
There's someone sleeping on the floor of the handicap stall. So probably a homeless guy or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to bother him, whatever. So I go down. There's plenty of stalls. I go down the far stall, courtesy. Mm-hmm. And I hear, really? Yeah, I guess just do what you got to do.
Huh.
This is what he says to me.
Okay.
I think he was pissed off that I came into his house to use the restroom,
Okay.
But,
no trespassing sign up.
Yeah, but yeah, so nice restrooms. It is what it is, but heated, a lot better than
fancy.
A lot better than porta potties.
Probably actually wash your hands on it, that spray sanitizer crap.
Exactly.
I hate that stuff with a passion. Oh my God.
So yeah, I woke up a homeless guy today, and then he was mad about me.
You're so rude.
Taking a in his house.
Morning ritual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about this thing, man?
I don't know, man. These are cool.
You got so many notes over there. You got so many notes.
Yeah, I mean, there's just
what's this picture? What's this picture?
So that's the spec sheet, actually, right from the Mahindra website on this thing.
What I want to know, how many, did you, in your research or anything like that, how many aftermarket Jeep parts that are specifically for Jeeps fit this thing?
I never even thought to look for that.
Well, like we found out, supposedly the dash and the grill can swap maybe easily.
I want to find out more about these axles.
The axles, the wheels are 5 on 5.5, so any Suzuki Samurai, old Jeep, old Ford wheels are going to work on it.
I like that.
They're passenger drop, aren't they?
They might be.
Is there? Do you have an axle width on this? Wheel mounting surface to wheel mounting surface?
I don't know, but I can consult the all-knowing internet.
Yeah, do that, because you know what I just... Well, the width is 62 inches, but that doesn't tell me the axle. I bet you the axle's going to be about 55 inches or so.
Well, how about while we look some of these specs up, we'll take a quick break and come back with some more of that information.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. See you in a bit.
It's cute when Rover shakes a paw for you.
Good boy.
And when he rolls over on command.
That's it, buddy.
But when he brings in fleas and ticks from the outside.
Rover.
Not so much. Rover can't help what time of year it is, but ABC Home and Commercial Services can. They're the best in pets, so give them a call and they'll come around and treat your yard. ABC Home and Commercial Services, 810-794-5678. Online at abcbees.com.
So we didn't get a direct answer as to what the wheel mounting surface to wheel mounting surface is.
Not on a very quick look.
But you did find out that the majority of the stuff in there, like you can drop right in a Dana 44 differential or
gears and differentials. You may need a 1 mil spacer, just over 1 mil spacer. It'll fit.
They have the old style 19 spline axles, but you can upgrade to the 30 spline somehow. There's ways to do it.
Oh yeah.
What I was thinking, though, and the reason I got excited about that is Stephanie Chevy Tractor Project, hashtag Stephanie Chevy Tractor. Tractor, not tracker, even though it is a Chevy tracker.
Yeah.
That has 5 on 5.5 wheel pattern.
Really?
It's IFS passenger drop.
Ah.
You see where I'm going with this. I am thinking that it needs a Roxor axle, a Roxor 44 in the front.
I like it.
I was originally going to do, because it was so close to the old Dana 30, I was going to do the CJ Dana 30 solid axle in it, but Dana 44. I mean, that's 14 better than a Dana 30.
Yeah. I don't know 14 what, but
Pardon me.
I might have
Sorry,
an answer
I'm
for
still
you
getting
here.
over my little cough here. Oh, you're still digging.
Yeah, I might have one.
Keep doing that. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of that, 4x4 news, you got anything going on?
No, like I said, I got the, I don't remember if I talked about it last time. I got the transmission ripped apart on Pegasus. It's bad.
I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
Did you put them on 4x4 Talk?
I think so.
Okay.
Pretty sure I did, yeah.
That was pretty terrible. Well, you
Yeah.
can go to driving schools and learn how to drive manual.
I know how to drive a stick.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem with there's, I won't go into the whole details. It's a problem
Operator
with the shifter.
malfunction.
It's not operator malfunction.
Problem with the shifter or what?
What it boils down to, it's either something in the synchro hub or it could be a bent shift rail.
Okay.
Which, after discussion with another guy today and some more looking at parts, it might be that. So I'm going to replace the first and second, third and fourth shift rails. I replace one shift fork, the counter shaft, the front input shaft, and its bearing, and then flush everything, pre-seal it, new fluid. I should be good to go. I hope.
Well, what Johnny Orange is talking about here, folks, is he smoked his
Yeah,
AX-15. So, and he's going to rebuild that thing.
Again.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, you can get, for the Roxor, I am looking at it right now, you can get Roxor front 30 spline RCV axle shafts.
No, I don't normally like those shafts, or that style shaft, but those RCVs are beefy.
Well, you don't like the Burfields?
Burfields? I haven't seen
A
those.
Burfield joint, that's what that style shaft is.
That was the CV joint.
Well, yeah, it's a Burfield. It's a constant velocity.
Oh yeah, I don't normally like them. No.
Yeah, they're stronger.
Yeah,
but
I've come to learn that from those guys.
yeah, well, yeah, $1,349 for a set of those front axle shafts.
This project is adding up to more than I expected already. I might stick with my original build plan.
Oh, were you thinking one in?
I was thinking the Commando.
Yeah.
I was thinking a pair of these in the Commando. My prior plan was the early Bronco 44 front 9-inch rear, but I'm thinking these maybe.
Do you have a centered rear differential or an offset?
It's like slightly offset.
Okay.
Which apparently I found out talking to a friend of mine the other day, they are worth some stupid money in certain circles, which I don't understand.
Is that friend the guy at the museum?
Yeah.
Oh, how do we miss that from museum minutes?
I don't know.
We have
So
some
addendum to our prior conversation.
addendum to our prior conversation.
Yeah.
I like that. We have some exciting news. For over a year, almost a year and a half, we have been searching for a treasurer for the Museum of Off-Road Adventure. We've had a treasurer myself. I'm the executive director. It is a conflict of interest for an executive director to sit on the board of the organization he's part of. So as you know, I have been which is legal.
Yeah.
I have been a non-voting member of the board. So fortunately, I was never needed to try to split, a vote. You got, the board works together pretty well. And I don't even think we've ever not had. I don't think we've really ever been split on a vote before.
No, it's pretty well unanimous in just about everything.
Just about everything. Yeah, we get along pretty well.
Yeah.
But we had a gentleman, Mr. Daniel Blair, who is a huge 4x4 enthusiast. He is a combat veteran, still serving. I don't fully understand all the military, how it works. He works for a private company, but yet he's still in the military kind of thing. But anyways, he's still serving our country, and he has a beautiful Scout 2 off-road vehicle. He has a rock crawling CJ5 Jeep. He's got a super clean Survivor / light restoration second gen Dodge Cummins truck. The guy is big in the off-road community. He lives 3 miles from the museum. He actually lives closer than any of the other board members.
Yeah.
And he stepped up and said, hey, I would like to take that treasurer position. He presented himself at our annual meeting last week, and he was unanimously voted in. So welcome, Mr. Daniel Blair, if you listen. It's great to have you. It really is. And that's the gentleman that Johnny Orange over here was just talking about, that was telling him about some of the value And to me, that you're speaking Greek. I knew there was some value, but I didn't know that they were that value.
Apparently, yeah. Like I said, some stupid money. So we'll see. That might be enough to fund the upgrade. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Good coffee?
No, this is water.
Oh,
see, our
good
YouTube
water.
people are looking at my coffee mug, though,
Yes.
and it is very true.
That's right. I'm drinking. I'm drinking water.
You like what's on my coffee mug?
Yeah, I'm
you
drinking
gotta go.
water
You gotta
from a
watch
beer
this on
glass.
YouTube to see what it says on my coffee mug.
That's another thing we didn't announce. We're gonna be starting YouTube.
Didn't we say that at the beginning of this?
All right, I forgot now. Oh yeah, we did.
Well,
I
we're
swear
saying
it's just water in this
yeah,
cup.
we're saying it again.
We're trying it out. We're going to see how
trying
it
it
works.
out.
So
Whether or
if
not
you like it, let us know.
this is, by the way, for those of us those of you who are watching us on YouTube, this is our temporary Thin Line Off-Road studio.
Mm-hmm.
We do have plans for a permanent studio, getting some things together. This is where we record. It's got the best sound quality for right now. So this is our
wonderful decor hanging in the back.
yeah,
They're clean shirts, I think.
probably.
Explain what that funky smell is if they're used though.
I thought that was you.
No, I took a shower before I came in. Sorry to disappoint.
Well, yeah, no, that is good though. I like that. Getting ready. You take a shower for our viewers so they can't smell you or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
I don't want to smell bad on camera. I know how to play this game.
Man, we just went off on this long tangent.
Little
But
bit.
back to the Roxor. Was there anything else that you want to talk about on that?
Well, so I came across one here, and I this is the first post I found with a number. They're saying like the whole vehicle's 62 inches wide, but the wheel mount or WMS. You said what was that measurement?
It's
Wheel mount
WMS to
spacing?
WMS, which is wheel mount surface to wheel mount
if
surface.
this individual on this form is correct, it is 48.425 inches, and the quote unquote narrow track Jeep axles are 48.5.
I think that's wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because no, they're all in the 50s or 60s. That would be a really, really narrow.
I wonder if he meant the leaf spring mounts.
No, because those are like 28 inches.
Ah,
And most leaf spring vehicles, the most common was 32, and
Okay.
then the later
one is wrong.
F350 leaf springs were 36.
okay.
How do I remember this?
I don't know. I remember weird numbers about things too. So
Yeah.
see, this one says spring 27.5, spring to spring, and the WMS is 53.25.
Well, here, I'm pulling up. There's actually a 4x4 axle width chart. I'm just pulling it up right
okay.
now. I've seen it before. Let me see. Oh, wow. Do I need glasses? Okay. So, yeah. So what were you trying to compare it to?
It said the narrow track CJ axles were 48.5, and it said it was 48.425. That particular form.
Yeah, here we are, like Ford Early Bronco 58.5. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the smallest ones on this chart. This is not a comprehensive chart that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's not that important that we talk about it right
No,
here
it's going
on
to bother me though now.
It's just yeah.
I can dig it up later.
Yeah, you'll have to do that.
Yeah.
But
So anywho,
what is just off the top of my head, I think I actually have your sheet in front of me here. What's the MSRP on these Roxors anyways?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure it was less than 20 grand.
are they cheaper than your regular side-by-side, or are they more expensive? That's what
I think cheaper. Roxor.
I mean, it's not like I can afford or I'm going to purchase one right
No.
now, but
$15,999. Wow.
that seems...
That's-
you can buy a four-wheeler for
That's
that.
as of August 13th, 2019.
Huh.
Interesting. Yeah, MSRP for the base model, $15,999. That's
Yeah.
right from the website.
Well, base model, besides getting an automatic or something, what are the other options that you can get? I mean, can you get this thing with air conditioning or anything like that?
I don't know. Well, let's build one.
Let's build one?
Yeah,
What
start
do
from
you
scratch.
you're on their site right now?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Okay. Let's see
I
how
want
good
mine
your
in
internet
pink,
is.
two-wheel drive.
Well, give me a minute. It's still loading.
Does say on here Driveline is 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, but I think that they're just saying that it's selectable. They don't offer a 2-wheel drive only one, do they?
I would hope not. That would be stupid.
I don't think.
What
Yeah.
was it here? Yeah, it's got a 2.46 low range on that.
That's well, it's the Spice. It's the
Dana
Spicer
18.
18.
Yeah.
The Dana 18.
And what is that? The Super? No, I'm thinking the Super 20. You can beef up with 18 guts or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was taking a drink of water.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I've been working in this dusty place lately, and I'm just so dry right now.
Man, your internet's slow, dude.
Yeah, well, everybody's stealing it right now, probably.
Yeah. So we might not be able to do this on the air, but
No, that's
later.
fine. That's fine. But I think they're cool. I like them.
admittedly do. Like I said, I didn't think much of them at first until I started to learn a little bit more through this. It's got a diesel. That intrigues me. A diesel and a manual. Mm-hmm. That's enough to get me intrigued enough to consider.
You didn't know that prior to going into
No,
this?
I had
thought
no
you did.
idea. Nope. I had no idea. I thought it was just like a little side-by-side Jeep clone made to, side-by-side made to look like a Jeep. I didn't realize it's a straight-up mini Jeep.
Yeah. Well, something, a lot of people, you've heard of Mahindra tractors, right?
Yeah, they're like, one of the best tractors.
Yeah,
around.
they're very, very reliable. People like them.
Yeah.
I figured that the engine would be the same as the Mahindra tractor, just the whole interchangeability of parts or whatever.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not.
They're
It's different.
very clearly written out. They're different.
Yeah, I saw that. So that
Yeah.
was something where I was like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
this thing is made as a vehicle. And like you said,
Bare bones, bare basic.
in India and other countries, it is sold and used as a
Yeah.
road vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
But
Okay.
here we don't.
So the only powertrain options are manual or auto transmission, standard suspension,
Wait. What other option for your transmission would there be?
CVT.
Oh, jeez. I can't believe you know what those are. You probably
They're
don't know
junk.
what they. Yeah, okay.
Garbage. It's like a belt-driven
Yeah,
thing.
constant velocity. Yeah,
Dude, you can get mat tracks for this?
well, I mean, it's 5 on 5.5. If you just get a 5 on 5.5 pair of mat tracks, you can just put them on there.
You can order it from the factory, though.
What? Well, how much does that option cost me?
All right. So $15,999. Clicking mat tracks jumps to $33,244.
Ooh, yeah.
All right,
Ouch.
we're gonna leave that off.
No,
Just
yeah.
stick with steel wheels. There's 4 different tire options: aluminum or steel wheels. Lockers. You can get the Warn manual locking hubs.
That's not a locker. That's a locking
Hubs.
Yeah.
Yep. You can get a lunchbox front locker or ox locker.
You can get an ox locker in the front.
Or rear, or both. You can get lunchbox or ox lockers for both. So adding both ox lockers and the Warn hubs bumps price to $20,575. I want to just round that up to the whole dollar.
Oh, you got rid of the mat tracks?
Yeah, I took that off. Do we want a windshield? Polycarbonate with wipers? Or
No, we don't even need a windshield.
all right, no windshield. It is.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me you can order these without a windshield?
Yes, no windshield is factory default. You get a polycarbonate windshield or polycarbonate plus wipers.
You could have. What? Okay, man. No, you can order a vehicle without a windshield from the
Yes.
factory.
It's off-road, remember?
Oh yeah, it is off road only. Darn.
Gotta see, because it's giving me options for the 2-wheel or 4-wheel, or 2-passenger or 4-passenger. As far as like the
Yeah, it's probably going to
enclosures.
be like the Suzuki Samurai, where your 4-passenger option was you got a little plywood bench
Yeah.
seat, basically that goes.
Do we want to do it with a full hard cab?
They have.
Oh, that's goofy.
They have full hardtops for it.
It's a whole cab. It's the windshield assembly, doors, and a top.
Really?
That's goofy.
Okay, so you don't have to spin your whole computer around here and potentially cause a technical failure. I'm going to try to Google this. What are these called? Mahindra hardtop?
It calls full hard cab is what it calls it.
Hardtop. All right. Oh, that is weird looking.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
No, I think I'd go with the soft
Let's
top
see what
on
the
that.
front options are. Standard bumper, up level short.
Somebody's shaking their fake
rings.
Rolex over there at us.
All right, well, I'm going to trig it out, and I'm going to get a final number. So I'm adding the up-level bumper,
Okay.
front D-rings, worn winch, stinger bar. I'm not going to put a plow on it. Interior, I'm going to leave for the most part basic. I'm going to add the rear seat. No rear seat. I don't want that. Oh, do you want the tilt seat hinge or just the regular no tilt hinge? I don't know. Ooh, upgraded manual console. Dude.
You are just having way too much fun
Yeah.
on this, John.
You're going to like this.
What?
Vintage heater, AC with defrost.
Nice.
Or automatic or manual. Yep,
Very
adding
nice.
that option.
So you can get air conditioning on
Yep.
the thing. I mean, not that it's that important to me, but I was just kind of curious.
Yeah. No light bars.
I think I've said on the podcast before that pretty much
yes, mirrors.
the only
Okay.
two options if I ever ordered a brand new vehicle that I really would like are air conditioning and power windows.
I love my AC, man. I miss it so much.
The rest of it to me is just luxury. I mean, I am fine totally with a manual transmission. I am fine with cloth interior, rubber floors, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Again, that's what I love. The basics of this. I love it. Oh, yeah. 2-inch receiver. It's what? You've got the spec sheet in front of you. It's got a pretty low towing option. But
Well, I mean, I hope you're not towing on. Well, I mean,
Not
off road, I guess you could.
you got to be able to bring a little generator, maybe a little pop-up tent or
I
something.
guess.
So this option, this is optioned out a little with the ruggedized bumpers and stuff. I did add the side steps, the stinger bar, the winch, aux lockers, front and rear, manual worn hubs, manual trans. 26,151.
Yeah, it gets up there.
It does, but that is impressive.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if you're doing off-road only, it'd be great. You know, if you're driving around up north or something on hunting property, this would definitely be the way to go. But obviously, unfortunately, not a daily driver yet.
Well, I guess to kind of end it out, the biggest thing with the Roxor, or the problem with the Roxor versus, or even not say versus, but these guys go to these side by sides, and there's this whole fad, and the fad of the side by sides I've noticed is starting to die down a little bit.
I've seen that too.
It was huge for a number
Couple
of years there.
Yeah.
Not being able to be street legal on it.
Yeah.
You go spend like you just said, $25,000
Yeah.
to option this thing out for a really nice machine, which I mean, it's probably
It's
worth.
cool.
Is very cool, but the reality of it is, you can still go buy a used Suzuki Samurai or a Geo Tracker that's
Or
the
even
same.
an old Wrangler.
Well, I was saying something the
Yeah.
same size.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Put some lockers in it and a couple little modifications. Under $5,000, you're on the trail.
Oh, yeah.
And you're street legal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Old Wrangler, the same thing. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my reasoning
This
that
versus a Jeep or something else, a Samurai.
If they ever street legalize these, and they made these to the point where I could get a plate on it and I could drive it between the trailheads legally and all that, and I don't have to trailer it everywhere, then when they're on the market 5-10 years old used,
Oh, yeah.
I'd highly consider
Yeah.
it. And maybe I'll consider one in the future too, but right now,
I'll boil my kind of final thoughts to it's a lot more impressive than I ever gave it credit for.
sure.
I mean, it's got some awesome features. I love to know there is a bare bones, bare basic thing out there. Just getting that next step. Hopefully it'll stay on the market. The last thing I had on that, which I think you have the page. No, the final decision on everything right now will be made March 13th of this year.
Did it say where that's that's in a Michigan court? Did it say where?
It did, but I don't remember.
I'm
where.
wondering if it's going to be because the offense, quote unquote, was committed in Auburn Hills, Michigan. I wonder if it's going to be in Auburn Hills.
The Eastern Michigan District Court is where one of them is.
Yeah,
that trial hasn't started. That doesn't start until May of this year. So the federal one is the March 13th is when it'll be settled. The other one, the smaller infringement case against it hasn't even started yet.
How awesome would it be if you got pulled for the jury for that?
That would be interesting.
It's not a jury. It wouldn't be a jury trial anyways.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be. Well, man,
For those watching, my vote can be influenced by getting one.
thank you very much for doing all that research today on the Roxor because I've been slammed. I had 60 hours at work last week.
Oh, jeez.
And I've been slammed. We just did not have. I do have some great topic ideas for the next couple of episodes.
Sounds good.
So, but for episode 39, I think the Roxor was a cool thing to talk about. I like them. So, thanks, Mr. Orange, for doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Keith.
And by the way, I have to mention, I love the new shirt.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, courtesy of Mr. Ed Henry. And I don't know if I'll be able to spin around here enough.
Ed, who came on the show
Yeah.
back, I don't remember the episode number, but after,
you can see that.
yeah,
Andrew?
yep. Oh, that is pretty cool. There you go. So you'll need to watch us on YouTube to see it, but Johnny Orange is wearing a custom Johnny Orange shirt with the Wheelin logo on the back, and Ed Henry, who was on the podcast back in September or early October, he, he just gifted it to you.
Yeah. Christmas present, so thank you very much. Appreciate it, buddy.
Very cool. Thank you, Ed. That was really cool.
Thank you.
That was really cool. So, anything else, buddy?
No, I think with that, we're good. Well, thanks for listening, and have a good one, everybody.